Hey guys, what's going on? Just thought I'd do a quick walk around with the new duck boat setup. Just got back from the lake. First time out. Um, Last night, put together the mud motor. Started it up last night. It was running for a minute. Um, Wanted to get out on the water and kind of see how it did. So kind of wanted to just do like a quick walk around with the boat, motor. Um, some lessons learned already. Uh, it's always a learning curve anytime you start something. Um, this is my first time really running a boat with anything much more than a trolling motor. So it's a little different, and running a longtail like this is a lot different. So yeah, just kind of go over some things here. So we'll flip this around real quick. All right. So what we got here, this is a 2017 Alumacraft 1648 modified V. I picked this up down in Indiana last weekend. Got a pretty good deal on the boat and the trailer. You can see, it's got flat deck. It's open. That's one of the things that I was really looking for. I wanted the flat flooring here rather than having to step over those ribs, just to make it a little easier to walk around inside. We've got a little front deck up here. Eventually, I'm going to end up running some lights. I may build a platform, or I might just put a railing on it for bow fishing. We'll see. Time will tell it, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's a John boat. This is the meat and potatoes here. This is a 670cc or 22 horse Predator motor I got from Harbor Freight. And I bought a SPS longtail kit made by Swamp Runner. This kit has the tail here. You can see it's a 100-inch tail or shaft, I guess. Because I have a 20-inch transom in the back, they recommend running a longer shaft on it. So you can kind of see it's pretty basic design. You've got your motor, you got your horizontal drive shaft, you got a PTO in here inside this coupler, and you just hook this shaft in here and bolt that on there pretty tight, and it's a direct drive all the way down. So as the motor's running, it just spins your prop down here. So it's kind of nice. The nice thing about it is you can get in some shallow water. I had it out and I was in some pretty shallow water. To be honest, probably a foot or less. Had no problem getting through it. So as you can see, if you look here on the handle, this is the first lesson learned here today. I'm driving along down 66, just outside of Athens, like getting ready to come into Athens. And I'm looking back, this, like I said, my first time taking this boat out, so I'm nervous, constantly watching, make sure stuff's not flying around back here. Look back and you can see this Swamp Runner logo here on the shaft. Well, as I'm looking in my mirror, I start noticing that this is facing up. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that don't look right. Something's not right. I get about another 100 yards down the road, and wouldn't you know it, the shaft actually came out of this coupler. Now you can see I've got everything strapped in right now. This is not how I had it originally when I was going down to the lake. All I had was a ratchet strap down here on the decking, just wrapped around this shaft to kind of keep it from bouncing around. So I think what was happening is, as I'm driving, you got all this weight back here, hitting bumps and yada yada yada. This is obviously the weak point anytime there's a connection. So I think this shaft was real stable. You got the weight of this motor, which is easily 100 pounds, plus all the other mounting equipment on there. So obviously it's going to come apart at the weak link. So it did. That thing popped out, and I saw it happen. Of course, this thing, just pivots on this mount. So it dropped down and got a little bit of road rash here. But that's it. I mean, not too bad. Other than that, everything is fine. Throttle cable's fine. It's just got a nice custom angle to it now. So lesson learned number one, don't do that again, right? So I'm probably going to end up getting something. You can already see that the decking is getting scratched up a little bit from this thing sliding around, taking corners. So I'll probably put some foam or something, I don't know, maybe even conjure something up out of wood or something like that, just to maybe keep that skeg off the deck. Yeah, so that's what that's all about. So hindsight, what I did, as you can see, I'm running a strap around the coupler here, so the strap is actually supporting the weight closer to the transom, and the motor has these little brackets on it. You can see, I don't know what it's for, maybe for, I don't know, picking it up with a hoist or something, I don't know. So I just ran some ratchet straps to each one of those, and that keeps it really, I mean, it still can turn a little bit, but if something were to happen, say this broke and that thing fell out, I don't know, but basically it's just going to prevent that from tipping all the way forward. So yeah, like I said, lesson learned there. Other than that, the motor ran pretty good. I'll have another video of me actually out on the water, but I already knew that there was going to be some issues. I just kind of wanted to get a test run. A lot of guys are saying with these motors that they're experiencing problems with starvation, with the fuel. As you can kind of see how I got, this is the fuel filter that came with the motor. I added another one just because I wanted something clear that I could see through, so I could actually watch the fuel flowing through, because I knew that I might run into the issue with the starvation, so I wanted to make sure that I could actually see the fuel flowing. That way I would know. So yeah, so basically I've got 2 fuel filters, so that right there should give me like an extra 20 horsepower just because of that. That's a joke, by the way. So then I wired up a fuel shutoff valve here. The hard part, or what I was curious about before I put this together, was I knew that the fuel line coming from the tank was going to be a 3/8 inch inside diameter, and looking at this fuel filter, it's a 1/4 inch. So I had to come up with something to reduce it. I wish I could take credit for it, but actually a friend of mine from work already kind of had something set up. So Chad, if you're watching this, thanks. Worked out good. But just a couple barbs here, and so I got a 3/8 barb and a 1/4 inch barb, so it just reduces it down. You can see the fuel line is kind of cobbled up, I guess, for lack of better words. There are lots of different hose clamps and stuff. Maybe not the most sightly thing, I guess, but it's functional. I kind of wanted these hose clamps to have the thumb screws on them, just so that if I'm out, running around, something happens, I can easily take them apart without having to have any tools with me. So yeah, I mean, other than that, it ran pretty good. So the solution to this is going to be running a electric fuel pump. I'll run it 12 volts off the battery, and I guess most people are saying to use like a low pressure, something like 2 to 3 psi. So you can find them on eBay all day for 10-15 bucks. So that'll be the next thing that I do. Like I said, I didn't really have any issues with it starving out at like half throttle or even like 3/4 throttle, but you open it wide open and it just dies. So then you got to stop, prime it a little bit, get her going, but other than that, I mean, she was running pretty good. Overall, I'm pretty happy. It's definitely a learning curve, like I said. Another thing that I might end up doing is, you can see the motor mount here. It's got these holes in here, so you can kind of position it differently. I think what I might do is reposition that motor. Maybe I'll probably just go one hole back to start off with, and then, you know, just go from there and see how it goes. What that'll do is, one, it'll keep the weight of this motor over the transom more, like when I'm driving, which is a good thing. It'll at least make me feel better about myself. But it'll also, the downside is that it's probably going to bring the propeller just a little bit closer. So I might have to hold this at a higher angle to keep it in the water. I don't know. I mean, I'm new to this whole mud motor thing, so it was a learning curve anyways. But ideally, the way it's supposed to run is when you have your wake coming off the back, the point for reference, I guess, would be somewhere around here, where the two wakes kind of meet in the middle. That's about where you want your propeller to sit. And I noticed that as I'm going along, the higher the angle that I put on this, there's kind of a sweet spot. It put a good angle on that prop, and she really, for lack of a better term, really grips. And she started scooting along pretty good. So I'm not going to be breaking any land speed records with this thing, or water speed records, I guess. But, you know, for what it is, I'm happy. It can't go wrong. The SPS kit by Swamp Runner, that was great. Real simple to put together. Me and a buddy put it together last night. It's Devin. Again, if you're watching this, thank you for your help. So yeah, no complaints there. Like I said, it's going to be a fun little project. So tomorrow's Easter, so it's April. Well, actually, it's the last day of March. But October's coming, so we're going to get this thing ready to go. Hopefully have all the kinks, all the bugs worked out come duck season. We'll get a nice line built up for it, a couple seats. Like I said, lights are coming. I've got the lights, I just got to put them in. We'll get her out, and we'll be killing. So stick around, there'll be more videos. If you guys got any questions, comments, whatever, leave them in the comment section. Appreciate you watching. Anybody running a similar setup, you got any tips or tricks, you know, let me know. Like I said, I'm new to this, so we're just going to keep on keeping on. Alright guys, take it easy.